So, you want to reclaim the glory of Alexander himself, huh? Then you've come to the right place for your Macedon Faction Guide. In real life, Macedon, or Macedon for English speakers, was an ancient kingdom located in the northern Greek peninsula, rising to prominence under kings like Philip II and his son Alexander the Great. Known for their legendary phalanx formations and cavalry, the Macedonians conquered much of the known world, spreading Hellenistic culture across continents. In the time period between Alexander's death and the start of the Rome I campaign, there would be multiple wars of the Diadochi, which shaped the Greek nations of the campaign we're familiar with. But this is an era which the Total War series has yet to explore. By the era of Total War Rome Remastered, Macedon is a regional power with potential to dominate Greece, or fall to its rivals. But it can be even more in your hands, because I'll teach you about Macedon's tech tree, roster, and the opening moves that will let you achieve even more than Alexander. Being of Greek culture, you have one of the most extensive tech trees available to any faction in Rome 1. This will help your population reach imperial city status faster, maximize your naval trade with level 3 dockyards, and specialize cities in the religious upgrades you choose. The downside is the long time it will take to actually see your growth materialize, as your empire will rely heavily on slaves to grow to the higher city levels, as well as a historical plague that occurred in Thessalonica in 256 BC, around turn 14 of the game. I should note Macedon only unlocks basic archers, but with the aid of one of the religious buildings, they can become quite a powerful force in competing with opposing spear-heavy armies, such as the Seleucids and Egyptians. Let's meet your roster. For your infantry, you start with peasants, which should only be used to garrison cities, and if your defending general has at least 5 command stars. From here on out, it's all spear units, as Macedon has no light or heavy infantry to speak of. The first of which is the militia hoplites. They can generally hold the line in the early game, but you will almost never need them beyond this. Levy pikemen are a noticeable improvement, and they come with very long spears, improving their reach against infantry and cavalry. They lack in armor, however, and can't withstand arrows for long, so you would do well to upgrade to the next spear unit. The third tier spear unit will make up the bulk of your front line for most of the campaign. The phalanx pikemen are a staple of Greek and Pontic armies for good reason. They have a healthy 4 morale, very long spears, and actually have some armor to withstand arrows and pila thrown at them. As far as spears in Rome 1 go, this unit will rarely disappoint you. Your ultimate infantry unit is the Royal Pikemen. They have 8 morale and are slightly better than the Phalanx Pikemen. They are rather expensive, require 2 turns to recruit, and will be difficult to retrain, so you can build a few, but don't expect much more than what the Phalanx Pikemen are providing you. They also uniquely get an extra soldier as an officer standing at the front left of the unit. Your first ranged unit is the Peltist, and they may be somewhat useful in the early game as long as they're attacking unarmored enemies. They will quickly be made obsolete as time progresses, however. Your second ranged unit are the standard archers of Rome 1. Archers are useful for weakening slow-moving enemy phalanx spears, so they will make life easier for your front-line spearmen until you fight the armored Romans. I should note you have access to a religious building that increases their ranged attack, so be sure to pass these archers through those cities when you have a chance. You also get a healthy selection of artillery to choose from, the ballista, onagers, and heavy onagers. They are mostly liabilities on the field, but since your armies aren't going to be very fast on the campaign map anyway, it couldn't hurt to employ at least one if you want to attack walls on the same turn as you besiege them. Your first tier cavalry unit are the light lancers. They are quick moving and are useful in chasing down routing units. Your spear units can't actually run in phalanx formation, and thus these will be useful to actually erase enemy armies off the campaign map. They also have a strangely powerful charge bonus of 9, one of the largest in the game, so use this if they are being approached by non-spear infantry. The second cavalry unit is ironically worse. Greek cavalry is weaker in combat and less armored with a weaker charge bonus, so I struggle to explain why use them at all. Macedonian cavalry is the first heavy cavalry, and can actually hold their own against other cavalry. You'll appreciate these against heavy infantry. Your ultimate cavalry is very impressive. Companion cavalry has both a massive melee attack and massive charge bonus to boot. They are also very armored, so they will do very well against all your opponents, except Seleucia's own cataphract cavalry and Egypt's scythed chariots. Some of you may also recognize them from Sid Meier's Civilization 5. Let's talk about early game strategy, strategos. You are fortunate in that Thessalonica is a minor city at the start of the campaign, meaning you can and should immediately build a Tier 3 barracks building to have phalanx pikemen almost immediately. On very hard difficulty, the Romans will not hesitate in attacking you, so you need all the advanced spearmen you can get. Athens is secretly the 8th wonder of the ancient world in Rome 1, as ports massively increase your trade income there and will pay for themselves the turn they are completed. It is right in the middle of the Greek Mediterranean Sea, so send all your forces from Thessalonica and Larissa there immediately to besiege it. This bonus may be compensation for not including the Parthenon in the game. Speaking of wonders, you'll start off with arguably the best wonder in the game in Corinth, the statue of Zeus, granting a plus 20% public order bonus in all settlements immediately upon capture. Gather your forces and go after Sparta to consolidate the Greek region under your banner. There will be no time for Greek fraternity when the Romans are sailing your way. Take out Thermon next and build up armies and economy. If you're playing on very hard difficulty, the Romans and Thrace should be attacking you soon. Otherwise, you can build up a navy to sink any Roman ships with armies aboard to save yourself the trouble on land. By this point, you should have at least 2 fighting stacks ready to attack or defend. Send one towards the Brutii Romans and the other for Byzantium. Thrace usually captures Byzantium as one of their opening moves. It will also provide a great deal of naval trade income. Your spear units will do very well in the tight streets of cities, not being flanked by cavalry, so you should have no trouble capturing even heavily fortified settlements. When expanding, remember that there is a whole Greek world to your east, so it would suit you well to conquer Anatolia from the Seleucids to take advantage of the lack of culture penalties there. Capturing roads from the Greek cities will compound the trade from Athens and Crete. You should have your cities specialize in a specific military unit, so have Thessalonica build infantry, Larissa build cavalry, Corinth build archers, and Athens build naval units. In contrast, here are some threats to success you may encounter. The battle for Sparta will be much more difficult than it appears, as the Greek cities are given a Spartan hoplite, which will be very difficult to break and get past. They are one of the highest morale and defense units in all of Rome 1, so you may find it easier to simply starve the city for a few turns before attacking if you're not confident in your abilities with your starting units. When fighting the Greek cities, your northern front will be vulnerable to attack from Thrace and Dacia, so you may wish to send a spy or watchtower out there to see what is headed your way. Playing in this region, it will be very important to have a powerful navy, as most of your income will be from naval trade between Athens and the surrounding cities. Navies are expensive, and you should start building one to deal with the Greeks, Romans, and pirates around. When in battle, your spears, especially phalanx pikemen, will be able to defeat basically anything that comes their way, short of archer units. Their very long spears will quickly break any cavalry unit headed their way except generals' bodyguards, so you'll quickly find that Macedon is actually quite easy. Your spearmen start off in guard mode by default, thus you may want to remember to turn that off for them to actually chase down routing units. They may regroup and continue fighting if they have enough distance between you. I notice when spear units are at less than 50% strength, they can actually be defeated by cavalry charges, so keep this in mind when covering your flanks. I would argue that Macedon is actually the second easiest faction in the game, after Egypt, and should be considered one of the starting factions alongside the Romans. Their spears are very powerful and require very little intervention by the player. They also get a more consolidated and richer home base than most of the factions in the game, so money should almost never be a problem. Macedon is an excellent faction for new players just getting into the Total War franchise who want to start at the beginning with Rome 1, and these tips should help you in your quest to do even better than Alexander. Thanks for watching. If I missed anything, please comment below, or tell us why Macedon is your favorite faction in Rome 1. Be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for my next faction guide, where we'll set sail for the warm beaches of Spain.